Hey everyone, I'm Aishwarya Mahapatra and once again welcome back to my channel. On my channel, most of the times I've actually talked about technical interviews, SD roles, DevOps roles, but today I'm bringing to you a little different content. If you're interested in tech but at the same time you don't like coding that much, then this role might be for you. Yes, I'm talking about the product manager role. I'm sure you might be a little confused because you're like, don't product manager roles need you to do an MBA? I mean, they require a lot of experience. And honestly, I also used to think the same as you are thinking right now before this podcast. Because today I'm bringing to you someone who is an associate product manager at Phonepe. Sarthak is a BTech student just like you and me. He graduated from his college, got into ZS Associates as a business technology associate, worked there for 1 year, and then directly got into Phonepe as an associate product manager. So in this video, we will be discussing how Sarthak gained the required skills for this role, how he prepared for this role, and how he got the opportunities for the APM role. So stay tuned till the end and don't miss anything. Also, before starting this video, I really want to request you all to subscribe to my channel because I've seen a lot of people watch my videos but they don't subscribe. You won't regret subscribing to my channel because I promise I will be bringing much more amazing content for you guys. So, hey Sarthak, how are you doing?
Hey, Aishwarya. I'm doing good. It's been great. How are you doing?
I'm also doing amazing. So, are you working from home these days or from office?
Yeah, it's been pretty much the hybrid culture at Phonepe, so I'm utilizing that. I'm working from home right now. It's festive season. I have flown back to Delhi.
Okay, that's so amazing, Sarthak. So let's start with the
Mhm.
podcast. So
Yeah.
the very first question would be like, what I know so far that the product management roles generally require a lot of experience. But in your
hmm
case, when I went through your profile, I realized that you have very less experience, just like 1 year of the corporate world. So how did you
hmm
actually manage to crack this product management role with less experience?
As you rightly mentioned, these roles are experience intensive, and the biggest reason for that is because you will be working on a product, and
Yeah.
and as a role of a product manager, it's expected out of you to manage end-to-end cycle of that product, starting from the ideation phase to the
Right.
landing it in front of the users and managing it till it's alive,
Yeah.
right? So whatever experience that you have will be helpful in delivering that product to its finest form, right? Uh, but anybody who is looking forward to this as a career option, there are always entry level options. So, for example, generally for SD, there are hierarchy like SD1, SD2, SD3.
Right. Right.
Most of the company directly prefer an experienced candidate as a product manager.
Mhm.
But there are few companies that often hire for entry level positions, which are associate product manager.
Right.
These generally this position exists outside India in like higher
Mhm.
senses. Most of the
Right.
companies hire outside India,
Right.
and the expectation from the candidate is that they should have good product thinking in general, or the part to relate with data or the user base, and one at least one of the segment. It could be design, it could be marketing, it could be, let's say, technical aspects as in development point of view, or it could be anything else. That
Right.
person should have at least one of them stronghold,
Mhm.
and they are right out of their college, or maybe they're one or second as in 1 or 2 years of experience. That
Right.
is the expectation from that role. So
Mhm.
in India, if I talk about, there are very few companies that hire for this position, and they actually grind you for this position. They actually teach you all the things about product management in the role itself.
Okay.
Particularly coming to my experiences,
Yeah.
I started with an internship at a company,
Okay.
which was a generic internship. It was in software development and testing field. I
Right.
later on started working as a marketeer as well. I
Okay.
started on working on designs as well, and then working. Since you are at startup, there are
Right.
openness over there. I started coordinating with the co-founder over there, and
Right.
he suggested me that whatever you are doing right now is more relatable to a product manager at the big firm.
Mhm.
So what
Okay.
you can do is you can slightly start transitioning into this role.
Right. Right.
So before hearing from himself, I was not aware what this position actually mean, or what is
Mhm.
the job role, or how does it work. But
Right.
after listening to this, I started doing my research
Mhm.
and then slowly transitioned into this role. So outside India,
Yeah.
US APM positions are for mostly whatever major companies that you have heard of, maybe Uber
Yeah.
or Google,
Right.
Microsoft,
Right.
LinkedIn, Facebook. They all have their APM programs, and
Right.
they are
Right.
like the finest APM programs out there. In India, it's actually very confined to very specific companies, Phonepe, Flipkart, and a lot of different companies, startups specifically. And they also hire most of the candidates from IIMs or IITs. Like it's
Right.
the general norm. So it like
Yeah. Right. Right.
90% of the APMs you will see out there are from IIMs or IITs. But as an example, myself, I would like to say that
Yeah. Right. Right.
no degree or nothing is a barrier for you. You can try even with your whatever degree that you have at hand. I have seen people coming from different backgrounds, different educational backgrounds, and different professional backgrounds, even from sales and different positions going into
Hmm.
product management. So anybody can go for this option.
Yeah, so basically, it's a myth that you require a degree to get into this role. Rather, it's purely based on your skills.
Yeah,
So, Sarthak, I personally feel that while you would have been looking for these opportunities with such less experience, you might have faced some challenges. So, what were those challenges which you actually faced while looking for these roles?
definitely. I think one of the biggest challenges is the scarcity of the positions. As I
Right.
mentioned earlier, it's it available. It is like more prominent outside India, but in India, it's very few companies hire, and
Yeah.
that too, let's say companies like Flipkart or PhonePe or any other companies, they hire in batches, as in they have a specific boot camp program or APM program, so they
Hmm.
hire for the whole year in one single go, and they have to have a limited position. For example, a company might hire for, let's say, 200 to 300 devs in a year, might only hire for, let's say, 15 to 20 APMs at best in a year. So that is the level of hiring in general.
Right.
And since the positions are less and there are much more candidates out there with the programs running in, with
Hmm.
everything,
Hmm.
people getting aware about this position and career option, there are a lot of applicants out there. So the first
Right.
of the challenges that getting your application shortlisted, as in your
Right.
resume getting shortlisted, or maybe a person on your LinkedIn replying back to you for the position.
Right.
Second challenge was convincing the other person without an MBA degree or without
Mhm.
uh,
Right.
experience, you are the better candidate to get referred. So even at PhonePe and other places, I almost got shot down because of that. I didn't have an MBA. They don't want to refer me because JD specifically asked for it,
Right.
or they don't want to refer me because experience requirement was very high. So after my 100, I would say messages, cold messages, and mailing on LinkedIn,
Mhm.
I was able to get referral for most of the companies that I want to apply
Okay.
for. But
Okay.
it did require a lot of effort.
Uh,
Let's say if I want to get a referral at XYZ company, I have to maybe reach out to 100 folks for them on LinkedIn. Out of those 100 folks, let's say 20 or 25 people will accept your request. And out of those 25, let's say you message all of them, you might get reply even from five or four of them,
mhm.
and out of those replies only one or two will be able to refer you. The
Right.
rest two or three messages will reply will be they are not able to refer you, or the
Right.
position is closed, or I should directly reply to the career page itself or something of that sort.
Mhm.
So that's kind of a challenge that one has to bear with it. So I think it's the consistent effort and determination that
Right. That will get you.
led to it.
So, most of the people these days think that in case they don't like coding, but they want to get into tech, then product management will be a good fit for them. Now,
Correct.
I would like to ask you, how would someone know that whether he or she is a good fit for the company or for the role or not?
This is the tricky part. So all the folks out there who listen about this product manager as a role, they understand that you are very well connected with all the folks, you have very good impact, and they know all the good things about this role.
Right.
And the best part is you don't have to code.
Yeah.
So people are often attracted by this position, and
Mhm.
it's a natural appeal to this position.
Yeah.
Uh, but I think that's not the requirement to consider yourself a good fit, because you should have the other aspect as well. So if you are not interested in coding, doesn't mean that you're automatically fit for this role, as
Right.
this role does not require any hard skill per se, that you have
Mhm.
to be very good at UX designing, or you have to be very good at with coding, or maybe you are very good with your marketing skills, whether it be digital marketing or any other.
Right. Right.
So even if it does not require that kind of a skill, it doesn't make you automatically fit. I think the best way is to understand how deep you can think about any product, whether it's a digital product, let's say Zoom as the software, or maybe Google, Gmail, or anything, or it's a physical product, let's say
Right.
an iPhone or a mug or a pencil or a pen,
Right.
how you well you can think about it.
Mm.
And thinking in general, 360-degree thinking about it, what this product actually means, for whom it's been designed for, what are the advantages of this product, how it performs as compared to its competitor.
Mm.
So how good is an Natraj pencil over an Apsara pencil, right? That
Mm.
kind of a thinking, if you develop, if you
Right.
think about in this direction about some products, you have the right fit. You are the right person for it. And again, the other part, I think it's an underrated thing out there, but you have to be very, very good with your communication part,
Right.
because half of your day or most of your day would be blocked with meetings and interacting with stakeholders or different people. If you're not good at communication,
Mm.
it will be hard for you to get your job done or get the things done in the right way. So
Right.
communication as a skill is also important. So one thing is product thinking, and the other thing is communication skills that I highly value.
All right, Sarthak. So now you knew that you are going to apply for this role with less experience. So, and you at the same time wanted to crack big companies. So, how did you
Right.
actually prepare yourself for that?
So I think it was a intensive process, because since I was working at a consultancy world, it has like
Mhm.
longer working hours as compared
Right,
to
right,
a
right.
typical job. So it was rather difficult at that moment. But at my mind, I decided that whatever I experienced that I had at a startup is the most significant part that I have right now. And secondly, whatever I am lacking at this field. So what I started doing was I started listening for the interviews, because
Okay.
I don't have to be very good at the job at day one, but I have to be very good at cracking those interviews. So what
Right.
I did was I did a Google search, normal Google search, started reading those Medium articles,
Mhm.
started listening YouTube videos, and there are tons and tons of podcasts available on Spotify or Google Podcasts, if you can search,
Mhm.
about different aspects. So one of the podcasts that I follow was 5 Minute Product Thinking,
Okay. Right.
and there are proper specific mock interviews as well as cracking the product interviews videos on YouTube available.
Right.
One of the channel that I can definitely recommend is Exponent, which has
Yeah.
finest videos I can ever find
Yeah.
regarding cracking those product management interviews. So they did mock interviews, and you get to understand, let's say, whatever problem can be put in front of you and how
Mhm.
you have to answer them. How
Right.
do you structure the answers? So one of the feedback that I used to receive was your answer was very structured, even if it was not correct or it's not up to that mark, but it was very structured. So one of the things that you learn from mock interviews or
Mhm.
listening to an interview
Yeah.
is that how do you structurally present that answer. Uh, and lastly, I would say, so I am not a book person. I don't read much books, so I have not gone for any digital or a physical book for the preference. But I used to do was whenever I was, let's say, commuting, or I was going for a walk in the morning or evening, or maybe in general, I just put on my headphones. I started listening to podcasts or
Mhm.
interviews. Maybe you're not listening to your full potential on your full concentration, but whatever words that you're hearing will help you at least understand the jargons that are used in product
Right.
management field.
Right.
Let's
Right.
say what is the ATV of it, or what are the conversion rate. So I started learning those jargons indirectly. I was not even aware that listening to those podcasts, not at full potential, even that
That
was even helpful for me.
that was helpful.
So that was another thing that I did.
Okay, Sarthak. So once you felt prepared, then how did you start applying for this role? From where were you finding the opportunities for the product management roles?
So I would like to correct this in a way. I didn't wait for the
Hmm.
preparedness per se. I believe in the mantra that nobody can be fully prepared for any
Right,
job
exactly.
role or interview.
Exactly.
So what I did was I started preparing, and on the day I was started preparing, on the next day,
Mhm.
instead of waiting for a week or a month to understand that I'm fully prepared, I
Right.
started applying for those positions. So what I did was I started applying from day zero itself for different positions. The website that I used was AngelList for
Okay.
startups, because startups are the places that are hiring for APMs without any experiences,
Hmm.
without further requirements on your
Right.
resume. They
Right.
don't look for all the nitty gritties that you should have MBA or you should have this much experience or this much exposure to these many applications, maybe SaaS product or different kind of products.
Right.
So one of the things that I did. Second, I started reaching out or connecting to link people every day. So
Hmm.
there are often days on my LinkedIn that number of requests that I can send, I maxed out on them. So I got a notification from LinkedIn saying that you have maxed out your LinkedIn request. You cannot send any more requests.
All right.
So I started sending requests to all the recruiters out there, HRBPs,
Mm-hmm.
product managers in top-notch companies from, let's say, Google, PayPal, or Uber, or whatnots of the world, right?
Yeah.
So from any part of the world, even if I could get their 5 minutes of attention, even if I get a referral, or even from their post itself, I could get a,
Hmm.
because let's say there is a hiring company A
Right.
and they like that post, I will get to know about it because they are in part of my
Exactly.
network.
Right. Right. Right.
So I started doing that, and there were few openings on LinkedIn itself, so I started applying for those. And what I try to do was whenever I get to apply for an opening, I immediately try to find people in my connection that are from that same company. So I
Right.
will shoot a mail if I get a mail ID, or I will send a
Mm-hmm.
cold message on LinkedIn itself
Right.
just
Right.
to refer me for the position.
Hmm.
The very key, I think, the very important thing that led was I got shortlisted for interviews. Even though I not did not crack the first company that I got shortlisted for,
Yeah.
I got to get for sit for an interview and gave
Right.
me an idea how an interview looks like. So the
Yeah.
exposure helped me a lot in preparation itself and getting me see through myself that how well prepared I am for one round. So let's say if I figured out that I am not working good for guesstimates, I started listening for more of those
Mm-hmm.
podcasts or interviews.
Mm-hmm.
And lastly, what can like there cannot be any certainty in the future that your resume will get shortlisted again for this company. So you should
Right.
always utilize the
Of
opportunity at
course.
hand and
Right.
not wait for the future.
Very, very right point, Sarthak. So, Sarthak, now I would want to ask you one question, which everyone wants to know about. So, how does the day of an associate product manager looks like?
I
Mhm.
think one word answer would be a lot of meetings.
Okay.
um, since this is one of the positions where you have to interact with a lot of different teams.
Right.
So most of my day, so if I strictly speak about my day today, it was fully blocked from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. with all the meetings. There was even not a
Okay.
5 minute break in between. So what I
Okay.
would say, most of your days will be at least more than half of them will be blocked in meetings, and there will be ad hoc meetings on top of that.
Right.
Maybe you are in office, you might be going to their desk, or they might be coming to at your desk. But most of the day will be blocked with meetings. You will be having meetings with all the stakeholders that will interact with your product.
Yeah.
So whether it will be your devs as in front end devs or back end devs,
Right.
it could be your UX UI designers, it
Yeah.
could be your marketing people, it could be the legal people as well. So in my product, I have to interact with legal teams as well. You might have to interact with cross pods or cross teams.
Hmm.
So any person, let's say from different team that you need help with or that you need to resolve dependency on,
Right.
you might interact with them.
Right.
And then there are other stakeholders. You have to, let's say, present some uh, data, or you have to get some data, you have to interact with the analytics.
Right.
So a typical day will, for me, start with looking at the data first, like what was the
Mhm.
performance for the previous day,
Right.
how well it is performing. And then further on, I start by reading, going through the mails, what has escalated in the last 8 hours that I was sleeping, what has happened wrong, or what might I need to work first with. And then I look at my calendar, like what are the next set of meetings that I have for today and I have to prepare for. Lastly, it's more around finding time to write those PRDs or making
Mhm.
those right set of calculation based on the data that you have retrieved from analytics.
Okay, Sarthak. So, generally these days, most of the people want to go into SE roles because of mainly three reasons. The first is a very handsome package. The second is a lot of benefits, and the third is an amazing career progression. So,
Mhm.
what does these three things look like in the product management roles?
Sure. So I think if you are looking for a package as one of the metrics, I would say hands down, software development is the right way for you.
Right.
Uh, I hardly find any company for the same year of experience or the same position, they will be offering much to a product manager rather than to a software developer.
Hmm.
And the reason for that is, I believe, who brings more things to the table. But I would not say that it's like the package difference is so high, or maybe they have a huge gap in between. It's almost comparable for the same year of experience. Uh, for today, let's say if I look at the packages of my friends who are SDs at their company, who are at the same
Right.
level of experience, who are from my same college backgrounds and everything, I still find my package uh, higher than a lot of people and at comparable to most of the devs out there.
Right.
So any company, they might be working at maybe Google, Microsoft,
Mhm.
or uh, Amazon or any other company, I have find my package almost comparable to them in terms of base at least. I think the other benefit that you see is if you look at the larger picture, you have a lot of impact that you create, or you
Right.
have much more visibility or a bigger lever in terms of a company's movement.
All right, Sarthak. So, any final piece of advice for the people who want to make a switch into the product management roles?
So there are a lot of advices that can be things can be said in terms of product manager. One of the things that I would say is if you're a right product manager, you will look at both pros and cons. A lot of people just look at the appeal of the product management as a career.
Right.
They look at the good parts of it. As I mentioned, you have a good package. You don't have to code. Don't have to work on a lot of different things in that sense, and uh, you get much more impact created by your work. But there are a lot of different things. You have to interact with a lot of people.
Mm.
You have to be, you are the one person that will be responsible for good or bad of the product. Generally, good happens, it's being divided for whole team has to take the credit. But in terms of bad happens, your product goes down the line, then you are the one person who has its neck. Uh, you are the person who is expected to have all the answers about the product, end to end, everything that can be asked. Why this design choice was taken on the system design level,
Mm.
you are expected to know. It is one thing that you know or you might not know or you might not understand the all the tech depth,
Right.
but it is expected that you know about how your tech is going to work, what
Right.
systems it's interacting with, what are the other teams that you have to interact with.
Right.
So look at the other part of it. What are the things that are coming in? Just
Mm.
don't get absorbed by the goodness of the field. Look from the holistic perspective, read about this role, and then apply for it. A lot of my friends just look at my job role saying that he gets paid for talking with different people or gets paid for attending meetings.
Right.
uh, I say that's true. I would not deny that, but it's just one aspect of the life or one aspect of
Right.
the product manager role. And anybody who is saying that you are not fit because you don't have the right set of qualifications or degrees
Mm.
in that matter, they are saying wrong. I have seen a lot of different people coming from very, very different backgrounds and moving into this career path.
Right.
So don't be hesitant by that. So yeah, bang on, move on for this career. And I'm happy to answer any other questions. You can reach out to me on my LinkedIn.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, Sarthak, for this amazing podcast. This was a very different podcast for me as well, because till now I've been actually interviewing just the software engineers, looking into the technical side. But then a lot of people wanted to know what product management actually is, how does it look like, how can we get into it? And I hope this podcast will be very helpful for them. Thanks a lot for coming on my channel, giving your time, and answering all those questions of mine. So, once again, thanks a lot.
Yeah, thank you so much, Aishwarya, for having me on this podcast. Glad to have to answer all these questions. I seriously wish that it helps a lot of people and they make the right choices. So yeah, thank you so much for having me on this channel.
So that's all for the video. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you think that you are a good fit for the product management roles, then definitely go right now and apply for the roles. Start preparing, and you never know, maybe this is that kind of role which you always wanted. Also, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to my channel. I'll meet you in the next video. Till then, bye bye.